Hi, it's Chris from Calla Lily Studios, here to show you a tutorial on how to make the Wild Women of my Wild Women Do card. So I had done a tutorial earlier on how to do the card, and so today I'm doing a tutorial on how to do the women. I start out with the small tag punch from Stampin' Up! And cut out of whatever colored paper that you like, the tag. Then I use I think it's the word punch, I think that's what it's called, to make the neckline. And you can make it as long as you want, or as deep as you want. That's kind of up to you. I then take the tag and cut it, hand cut it, in whatever way you like, to kind of make it a tank top. You can make it as wide or as narrow as you like. I guess I'll cut it a little bit more there. And that makes your tank top. I use the word window punch again for the neckline. That sort of fits in there. So I cut it about halfway up. And this is to make the neck. I fit it back in to make that neck. I use the remaining piece of that word window, just cut it in half, cut it down, and this is what I'm going to use to keep my neck in. You can do it different ways, but this is how I do it. Just makes it easier. And then just glue it in space. Now one of the things you don't want to see is on the end, so you'll want to cut it off. Since I made mine too long, just cut it off. So there you have it. The neckline is in. Make sure it's all the way down. Since I think that neck is a little too wide, I usually just cut a piece out to make it a little narrower neck. Oop. Let me stick that back in since the glue. I'm going to put a little bit more glue on this side to hold it in. And stick it back in. Like that. And all the way down. There you go. So there's the neckline. And then I'll show you how I do the arms. The women, the Wild Women, have their arms up. Oops, excuse me, let me see if I can get that a little closer for you. Or down, whichever way. And I really hand cut this. I leave the shoulder and sort of go in and then come out. I'm really trying to give it an arm look to it. So here you go in to make the hand, come out, and go in again. So you've got sort of an arm, and then I cut, you don't have to, but I cut fingers just to give the appearance of fingers. Just cut several slits there. Oh, that's probably too small, but something like that, just to give the appearance of fingers. And then I glue it, if you can see that, but I glue it to the shoulder. If you don't want a round neck on your Wild Woman, you could just cut a V out of there. And of course, in this case, I think I want it to, and I've showed it going down, but if you want your arm to be raised, you could raise your arm up like this. I'm showing it going down, but however you want it on your Wild Woman. This woman happens to be the driver, so I've got her arm going down. And then for the arm that's holding her hat, I use the 5-petal punch. Just move this back a little. And I use it out of cardstock that is sort of flesh colored. And I got this idea, I think it was Ellen Kemper's site. She was doing this type of thing, and I think it works out nicely. Let me just look here and see if I can cut it on the edge of the cardstock. Don't make it too fat. I think right about there. It cuts the corner. And then I also cut a little bit off that just to give it an elbow. And then you have your arm, and you could use either one, whichever one looks best, that's holding the holding your hat up. And I glue that on as well. A little bit of glue. And so that's the body of my Wild Women. For the head, I use the small oval from Nestabilities. Let me just get a little closer here. I try to, you know, imagine it here on her. Use this one here. I've cut out a couple. Here's one that I like. And that's how it's going to look when she's done. So the next thing I do once I have her head cut out is make her hat. And again, this is the driver, so she does have the hat. So I'm use a lighter color for the base of the hat, and you really just glue the ends here, and you can put a daub in the middle. I try not to glue the whole hat down because I want to slide her head in. Now the hat is made from the Stampin' Up, and I use Stampin' Up's large, because if I can't get it on here, I got glue all over me as I usually do, from the large oval from Stampin' Up. I use that to make the base. I also use this to make the rim of the straw hat. And that, I'll show you an example of how we do it. You cut away just the edge like I did here. You just cut that away. And then you go in and cut it a little larger, however large you want that cap to be, and cut it. And that makes your brim. In this particular case, I ran it through the Sizzix, I don't know what they call this, I call it basket weave, to give it that straw hat look. And then I also used a little bit of distressed ink to give it a little bit of color. I think it was the honey wheat color of distressed ink. This also is the large oval from Stampin' Up that I used. I cut it in half, cut the oval out and cut it in half, and that's going to be the cap of my, or the top of my hat for my Wild Women. And I want it to show a little bit, not too much. And now, once you've done that, you're able to, if you haven't glued this down too much, slide the head in. I guess you gotta wait for all these things to dry. Let me just hold it. And I don't like it too high because then I think it looks like a sombrero. And I'm trying to make it look like a woman's cap, or woman's hat. So there you can see how that's going to look. Sometimes I like to put a sash across it just to give it a little bit more color, and I think I'll do that again here. And here is a sash, so I'll set that for a minute. Set that. I like the way this looks, so I'm going to glue the head in there as well. You want to make sure you leave enough room because you've got sunglasses to put on, you've got hair to put on. Now if that's all glued, I can just take the sash, if I can just move that back a little, and clip off from the back whatever sticks out. And there's my sash. I kind of like that. So that's the head. And for the sunglasses, I have already, since my last video I realized I ran out of time. I'm hoping that I won't run out of time here, but I made the sunglasses from the Stampin' Up edger, the eyelet edger, cut out a piece and then cut the sunglasses out of that. And that's where my sunglasses came from. The little pieces that fall out, I glue back in. I use as I did with the neckline, I just use a strip of